you've been in the game for a long time, and for every player manager and list manager that comes through the doors of Gettable this year, we want to ask a sort of trade retrospective in terms of what your favourite trade or free agency move has been throughout your own career. So take us back into a story, can you?
Yeah, well, I've actually, there's been quite a few. Someone asked me that a year ago. There's been quite a few between Ant and myself. There's the tougher ones, and the industry 10 years ago is different than, it is today. Sometimes back in the day there was clubs were using all angles to close trades down or managements down and what they were doing, and, you just fight fire with fire. It's a bit different now. The COVID's sort of settled the industry down, so it's a bit more placid at most stages. But probably the one that was interesting was probably the first free agent as well. I think that Quinton Lynch was the first free agent.
Acoustic.
Yeah, in the history of the AFL, I'm not too sure. And that was an interesting one because no one had gone through free agency before, and just the logistics of all learning about it, and and working with clubs during that process. There's been some other great ones, but probably Quinny was the interesting one because taking the story back, peeling it right back, was I was in overseas having 4 or 5 days off, and I kept on actually watching and reading the AFL website, getting a bit of intel there, and it said that Travis Cloke might be on the move to Carlton or Essendon. I can't remember exactly where it was. So I got Eddie Maguire on the phone, name dropping again. I rang Eddie up, and Eddie picks up, and it's Cole Young. Eddie, yep. Just want to have a chat to you about a player. I keep reading that Travis might be on the move, and I might have one just in case he does. And he goes, I'm just going through the tunnel, Cole, I'll call you back. So I was sitting there for about half an hour. It was a long tunnel. But he did call back.
Traffic was bad.
He did call back. So it was good. I just said, look, I keep on reading about Cloke. And at that stage, West Coast were going through a list change, and they were probably not going in the direction as long-term contracts. So, at that stage, and you understand where West Coast were going, I offered a 1-year deal. Quinton had 2 or 3 years in him, had a young family, so he was looking for security. So based on that conversation with Eddie, I had a call from Jeff Walsh. And I was in Melbourne, and Jeff Walsh is, I know he's arguably one of the best, if not the best, general managers of all time in the AFL, and you understand why clubs make a beeline to get him. The first time I ever met Jeff, he scared my pants off me. He just got the most piercing eyes you've ever seen, and he said, "Never BS me, Cole," and I never ever have. I can tell you. But so going back, so Jeff rang me, and I said, "Look," he goes, Eddie told me about Quinton. I said, "Look, I think it's on. I think that West Coast might let him go, 1-year deal and all that." So I went and saw Jeff, and Jeff said, "Look, this is if he wants to come, this is the opportunity we could give him. We'll need him to come and do a medical, meet the coach, and all the usual process." So I rang up Quinton, and he was a bit shocked by it. Collingwood, arguably one of the greatest clubs in Melbourne. And I said, "Mate, you're going to be on a plane tomorrow. I'm not going to pick you up because people might work out what's going on. Just wear a cap, scarf, make sure no one knows who you are. Coming from WA for the grand final, I think they're going to get it." I think it was around that time anyway. So anyway, someone from Collingwood picked him up, and he went through the processes, medical, met the coach, went through everything, and then I rolled in and caught up with Jeff and sort of said, "Look, how'd it go?" He goes, "Look, we're pretty happy with him, pretty keen to keep him in, get him into the club." And I said, "Look, I'll grab him for a chat because I haven't spoken for a while."
Yeah.
So we went over the road to have a coffee, and he goes, "Oh, just let you know, I had a chat I had a call from Robbie Wiley. I think it was Robbie. He said, Carlton want to have a chat to me." And I went, "Yeah, I'm not too sure about that." I've told Jeff basically it's done. So I was starting to panic because anxiety was coming in. I'm not telling Jeff Walsh that Quinton Lynch is not coming. So anyway, he said, "Look, I'm going to meet with them. Got really well with the coach, and I'm going to meet with them. So be prepared." So anyway, I dropped him off at a spot around the G and let him go and do his thing with the club. And picked him up 2 or 3 hours later, and there was cameras all over at Collingwood, and I couldn't work out what was going on, and I thought I was going to go back and speak to Jeff and sort of give an idea what was happening. But I saw the cameras and thought, I'm not going in. And it was actually, I think from memory, they were signing, that was the day they signed Clokey to stay.
Right.
So anyway, got the call from Quinton, picked him up, and he goes, "Mate, I don't know, I think I might be leaning towards Carlton. Oh, no. Let's go and have a chat about this. This can't be happening. I do not want to be the one to tell Jeff Walsh that this is not happening. Anyway, we sat down, had a chat about it, and the more we talked about it, you could say, look, it's probably leaning towards the Blue Baggers. We went back to the Metropole, we went upstairs, and I thought, mate, let's just have a glass of wine and have a chat about it and to speak about the contract.
Yeah.
He goes, no, they haven't. I said, well, let's just wait to see that come through, and then
give me some numbers.
Give us some numbers, and we'll compare apples to apples, and we'll see how we go. I still think that either club's great. They're great, both great clubs, so you wouldn't mind either way. But unfortunately, I had strong conversations, and I was the one that picked up the phone to call them. It wasn't the other way when they picked, so I was obligated. I picked up the phone.
See it through.
I had to see it through. So anyway, I said, Quinny, I'll do whatever you're my client. I'll do whatever you say. But oh my God, I'm actually crapping myself. Anyway, so the offer came through from Carlton, and I knew that they, having done a lot of work, I knew they were tight with the cap at that stage. They had an outstanding list of players, on big money. So I thought they might not be able to, come near, or even, it might be just a serviceable contract. Come with us, and you'll play every game, and it's a serviceable contract. And anyway, we're sitting there, and Quinton's very nervous. His knees going up and down the glass. Remember, I had to stop. Hey, man, relax. It's all right. Anyway, I've got the text came through, or the email came through, and I just showed him the numbers. And not disrespectful to Carlton, just that they were tight. And then he just said, so what's the Collingwood song?
Bang.
Bang. So he drove back, and he had 2 great years with Collingwood, loved the club, and he's never looked back.